Hey guys, it's Mana here, and we're back with more Seduce Me 2, the Demon War. When we last left off, the boys and their wives that I didn't know they had showed up all of a sudden. I guess they realized we were trying to open a portal to get back, so they opened a portal to get to us, because we couldn't get back, so... Fun. Let's jump back in and see what happens. As the guard nodded and slightly bowed, the other demons seemed to let out a sigh of relief. Were they worried about performing the curse? Diana shook her head before crossing her arms and looking directly at me.
So, since you'll be here for a while, we might as well give you names that you can use to refer to everyone here.
Are we getting human names?
Relatively, because I can pronounce those.
Must we?
Diana rolled her eyes and gestured at each demon, naming them off on the fly.
For the sake of time, we'll use simple names. This is Rabbit, our magic advisor. Sergeant, commander of our armies. Shadow, leader of our assassins. And Faye, our nomadic force ambassador.
I can deal with those. What are their real names, I want to know.
Sergeant, I'm a commander, succubus. Shouldn't my name be Commander?
It's easier on the tongue, though, to say Sergeant.
My lady, what shall they call me?
Diana looked at Sero for a moment before turning towards me, a look of seriousness emanating from her eyes.
You may call him Sero. He is my personal guard, and he is always by my side.
Sero is fairly easy to pronounce. The other demons and Sero seemed to be surprised. Was Sero his true demon name? Why would she give me his true name? Well, even if she didn't give it to us, we already heard it.
Are you sure?
Call him only if your life depends on it. Do not abuse this permission.
And that's why you gave it to me. Awesome, thank you. Her eyes seemed to burn as she gazed into mine, full of hard intent and warning. I mentally noted her seriousness as she ran a hand through her hair.
Well, now that we have a plan and introductions are out of the way, I believe we can end this meeting. We have a lot to accomplish in 1 week.
What about us? You don't expect us to sit around.
Actually, I do. You all don't belong on the battlefield.
Whoa. Huh?
I mean, the girls don't. They're human, so probably shouldn't be out there.
I will not take untrained and unarmed beings into a war zone.
Hold on. I interjected, stepping forward and crossing my arms at Diana. She seriously wasn't going to make us stay back while she fought the Demon Lord, was she? Is this really what we should do? That's not fair. We can fight too. I'm gonna go with, is this really what we should do? Diana nodded to me, a look of sincerity in her eyes, as she locked her gaze with mine. I knew she was trying to protect us, but was it necessary?
Unless you can fight, I can't guarantee that you will survive this war.
Well, I don't know if any of them can.
Let me and my brothers train then. We're demons, for fuck's sake. You know how to fight.
Thanks, Sam. The boys stared at Diana as she turned her head towards Sam. He was right, though. They knew how to train, so they knew how to fight. If they fought with the rebellion, there would be a better chance of winning this war, especially because they're the Demon King's sons.
You all realize this is a war, correct? You can die here.
We understand completely.
Hi, James.
We understand, Diana.
You are a fantastic fit for James. Diana could only stare at our group as we challenged her proclamation. I wrapped my hand around my fiancé's arm, tightening at the idea of participating in a war, but knowing that we needed all the strength we could muster to finish off the Demon Lord. This was the only way that I could go home. Defeated, Diana sighed and rubbed her temples.
Very well. I can't exactly keep you here like prisoners, so it will be up to you if you choose to train for battle. However, I highly suggest just staying here and allowing us to handle it.
I nodded, as did the others. This was really happening. We were going to kill the Demon Lord, and we had 1 week to either prepare for war or wait it out. Diana turned towards me and looked down at my outfit. I had nearly forgotten that I was still in my wedding dress until Diana pointed at my chest.
Lumen infere, bellum tabescere, serene.
I stared at her, unsure of why she was speaking in Latin, until I felt the fabric around my body shift and change. I quickly looked down to see my wedding dress morph into an outfit that looked perfect for the demon world. The white top shifted into a long-sleeved, oversized tunic and a leather corset and vest, while the bottom part of the gown split and wrapped around my legs, forming into dark leggings. My shoes stretched into long knee boots.
Wow. Very nice outfit.
Norin? I don't know. I blushed, getting used to the feel of the outfit. The corset wasn't tight, but it was still something new, along with the rest of the garb. Eric, however, smiled down at me and kissed me on my forehead.
You look wonderful, Princess.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Faye, Rabbit, you both should finish your preparations and head over to the Demon Lord's castle for the spell.
How are you going to get there?
Oddly not on the screen, Sergeant.
I'll get us there, no problem.
Usually they're on screen when they're talking.
Just make sure we don't get stuck there or lost. No promises!
Zero, make sure the job is done.
I shall, my lady.
Zero, Faye, and Rabbit began to make their way out of the room as Diana turned to me and my group. As they left, Diana let out a small sigh.
I will take you to some rooms you may rest in.
Thank you, Diana. Diana merely nodded and led our group out of the room towards our new temporary rooms. I felt insanely nervous. This entire situation was beyond my imagination. Stuck in the demon world, under two kinds of enchantments. That was unreal even for me. Still, we were going to work towards finishing this war and getting me home. We had to do everything we can to keep our focus straight. Bleh. As Eric and I were escorted to our room, I felt the need to cling to Eric's arm. It had been only a day since I had been taken away from the human world, but for the longest time I had to be enthralled to get close to him. Now I was freely and willing able to hold on to Eric's arm. We're going with hug tightly. I couldn't help it. I needed to feel closer to him after all of this time. Being separated was not something any bride wanted from their soon-to-be partner. I wrapped my arms around Eric's arm, hearing him chuckle and lay his free hand over my arms lovingly.
You know, I wanted to walk down the aisle with you as your husband. I was so worried when you didn't show up to the ceremony.
My heart sank as I looked down. I hadn't wanted to leave him at the altar, but the Demon Lord had other plans. I gritted my teeth before feeling Eric's lips on my temple, causing me to look back up at him.
I know it wasn't your doing, love. Don't be upset. You weren't gone long.
Not gone long. I had been in the Abyssal Plains for a full day. How was that not long? How long was I missing for? Eric rubbed his neck and looked away, a small blush forming on his cheeks.
Around 5 hours.
Huh. 5 hours? I was here a full day. How does that work?
Well, time runs differently here than it does in the human world. In the time it takes for an hour to go by in the human world, 5 go by here in the demon world.
I was gone 5 hours. Okay, yeah, that's a whole day. Okay, yeah. My mind spun slightly at the idea. Time moved differently here. I shook my head and let it go. At least I wasn't gone for long in the human world. What happened when you found out I was missing?
Well, your father was demanding that Sam open a missing persons investigation since he's a police officer. Luckily, James was able to calm everyone down, and with Irides's energy, he blocked everyone's memory and told them to return home and the real wedding would begin later.
Sam's a police officer. James was able to calm everyone down. And Irides's energy... Oh, with Irides's energy, he blocked everyone's memory. Okay. Okay. James can do that?
Only with his wife's help. That gave us time to try to locate you. When we did, we all decided to come through to get you back.
Fair enough. I could only imagine what it had been like. All of them huddled in a room trying to find me. I felt a little flattered, but I knew that it was because they all cared about me. The wives included. I was happy that they did, and that I was back with Eric at last. Our walk continued until I entered my old room with Eric. Not quite your old room, but okay. Our guide left us alone, needing to prep for the rest of the day. Eric sat on the bed, ushering me to sit beside him. Like a magnet, I was drawn to him, sitting beside him. It was a major relief for my mind to know that everything was going to be taken care of. It was an even larger relief to know that I could be with the man I loved in the meantime. I laid my head on Eric's shoulder, and he wrapped his arms around me.
Are you really okay?
I nodded. The only thing that was wrong was me being trapped, but there was nothing I could do until we got the Demon Lord. Eric seemed to know this as well and kissed over my head.
Well, at least you were no longer disgusted by me.
I don't think disgusted was the word, but okay. Eric? I was never disgusted by you. Yes, that's the correct one. That's how I feel about that. The feeling of love ran through my body as I settled into the situation. I could finally hold him and love him as I meant to instead of being cruel. It was a blessing. Eric nodded once again before hugging me softly to him. Laying us back across the bed, I wrapped my arms unconsciously around him and listened to the rhythm of his breathing. It was slow, relaxed, which made me feel, in turn, at peace. Can I help you, Ame? What? Do you want to get the squirrel? Huh? Is that what you're meowing at me for? Because the squirrel's outside and you want to try to catch him again? You've come nose to nose with him twice now. Nose to nose. You had your nose right up there to him. And he didn't eat you, surprisingly.
We'll get to go home soon.
I know. I closed my eyes, letting our embrace slowly entice me to sleep. It didn't bother me that I was dressed with my boots still on. It was such a peaceful transition, I barely felt the shift between being awake and being asleep. I held Eric close to me, listening to his heartbeat. The simple syncopation of it filled my own heart with such joy that I could not deny the smile on my face from stretching further. Whatever held me for so long no longer had hold of my mind and my body, allowing my heart to once again guide my actions. As I slept, however, a voice I had not heard in a while reappeared.
Why? Why did you do that?
It's the baby! Huh? Within the darkness of my dreams appeared a familiar purple orb, floating in the vast space. I felt once again charmed by it, but I was more confused as to why it was in my dream and why it had asked me such a question.
Why would you do that?
Do what? What are you doing here?
I don't understand.
What are you doing here? I had to repeat myself. The orb didn't move or change, but something about looking at it made me feel unsure. Why was this spirit haunting me?
I don't understand why you like him.
Question mark? Why I like Eric? Wait, was this spirit the reason why I was aggressive to Eric? I glared at the orb, suddenly putting two and two together. You were the one who made me act so cruel toward him.
He's icky! He's an icky man!
Oh? I loved him dearly and didn't want to treat him like I did. If I was being forced, then I needed to stop the one who was forcing me.
Loving a person doesn't make them less icky.
That sense does not make. What is so icky about him?
He talks funny. He keeps touching you. He has those...
Sex eyes?
Yeah! He is so icky! Icky!
This is clearly a child.
I'm not as disgusting as you make me out to be, Spirit.
My heart jumped at the sound of Eric's voice. In front of me appeared a reddish shadow, which quickly formed itself into Eric. The orb seemed to pulsate at the sight of him.
Icky man!
My name is Eric, and you are not welcome in my princess's dreams or her body.
Ame!
You're not either!
Eric? Eric looked back to me and smiled before stepping forward, making the orb back away a bit. I couldn't tell if it was in fear or anger, but the pulsing energy around the orb seemed to become larger at Eric's stare.
My duty is to protect my princess from anything that threatens her. You, rogue spirit, are considered a threat.
All you do is touch her and take her energy.
That's not true.
What else does the Icky Man do?
I opened my mouth to retort back, but suddenly froze, feeling my thoughts escape me. For some reason, I couldn't remember anything else Eric had done except for what the spirit said. He would kiss me, hold me, and take my energy. This was wrong. Something was definitely wrong. Why couldn't I pin down more things Eric did for me? I held my head and shut my eyes, trying to focus harder on my thoughts. Eric, however, stepped toward the orb, a group of ethereal tendrils emerging from his back.
That's enough. You don't belong here, spirit.
I expected the spirit to fight back, but it didn't say anything more. After a moment of silence, the spirit faded into the darkness of the dream. Eric and I both let out a small sigh of relief.
Are you okay?
Better now. Eric nodded before wrapping his arms around me.
I swear that I will keep you safe.
Still, I couldn't help but feel a small restlessness in my body, despite it being in a dream. I thought that sleeping would help my anxiousness at the situation I was in, but it only made me more worried. With this new fear in my mind, I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to hold out until we defeated the Demon Lord. A spirit was really actually haunting my thoughts. This was insane, to say the least. Still, the spirit was quelled for now, at least until we found a way to expel it from my body. I woke that morning before Eric, physically refreshed but mentally troubled. The event that ran through my dreams both bewildered me and scared me. How long was the spirit going to be stuck to me? A knock at my door interrupted my thoughts and woke Eric.
Who's there?
It's us. We brought food.
Food!
Can we come in?
Huh? Sure. The thought of food made me relax a bit and forget about the circumstances. The door opened to reveal the other incubi and their wives, holding plates of food. James and Iridessa, however, each carried 2 full plates, passing one to me and Eric.
Oh, thank you, James.
Oh.
You're welcome.
That's Iridessa. I don't know who the other one was.
You'll never guess who prepared it, though.
My mind instantly went to Matthew or James. They were usually the ones who made food when they lived in my house. Still, it could have been Damien as well. But then my mind cycled to the rebel leaders and Diana. We were in their castle as their guests, so it wouldn't make sense if they made us food. Looking down at my plate, I noted the selection of food: fruit slices, bread, cheese, and some form of meat jerky. It seemed native to the demon world, but it was probably indeed human food. Using process of elimination, I decided that it was probably Diana.
How did you both sleep? Our rooms are on the opposite end of the hall, so we didn't know how you two were doing.
Did you two get to catch up?
Please, Matthew. They obviously did more than catch up. A bit of Twilight Tango? Sensual salsa? I bet he dipped right in.
Well...
Eric and I looked at each other, ignoring Norian's innuendo as we thought of the seriousness of the situation. Did we want to tell him what was going on? You know what? Let's tell him about the ghosty goo. I didn't want Eric to be the one to explain. The spirit was in my body, and it was my problem. I motioned for Eric to eat before turning to the group and starting my explanation. Well, there's something we found out last night. I haven't been in control of myself because of something.
What did you find out?
Wait, you're not saying that...
Hey, are you
Pregnant?
pregnant?
Eric choked. I quickly turned my head to see Eric covering his mouth and coughing almost violently, most likely trying not to suffocate on the food in his mouth. He quickly swallowed his food and smiled painfully at the group.
No. She is not pregnant.
I'm gonna disagree with you, Eric. Eric was right. This was a whole different matter. For a second, I wondered what Eric thought about the question, but more importantly, we needed to let the group know what was going on.
Is having a child that bad?
The room around me seemed to freeze as the spirit's voice appeared in the air. I looked around and noticed that everyone, including Eric, was still. Oh, good. So everyone heard it? What?
The icky man doesn't think so.
What do you mean? In the middle of the room, the spirit appeared, making me gasp. It floated over to Eric and spun around his head, making him light up slightly.
Well, if she were pregnant, I'd be able to expand my legacy.
Eric? Was that really what he was thinking? He wanted children to expand? No. No, this was the trick. I glared at the orb as it finally moved back to the center of the room. You're lying to me. Whatever you're trying to do won't work.
I'm not doing anything. Just look at him.
I did, wanting to prove the spirit wrong. However, my eyes couldn't lie to me. He had a nervous, almost pondering smile on his face, as if he was keeping quiet about his thoughts. Were the thoughts I heard really Eric's?
He's an icky man.
You're a child. Would you stop saying that?
It's true. He wants to make babies with you. You heard so yourself.
That's usually what husbands and wives do. He didn't say that, but in a way he did. Expand his legacy. Who says that? Then again, the look on his face couldn't lie to me. The more I gazed into his eyes, the more I could see a form of disappointment. Was I overthinking?
He keeps touching you and trying to make you feel good. He wants to make you have his babies.
Again, husband and wife. Well, almost husband and wife, but still. I didn't want to hear it. This was something I had to figure out myself. If this spirit was telling the truth, which I doubted, then I would deal with Eric when the time came. However, the primary problem was that this spirit was still inside of my body. That's because it's your baby. I looked at the floating orb, seeing it bob up and down in place. So, how long do you plan on sticking around?
Sticking around?
How long do you plan on being in my body?
Oh, I don't know.
It didn't know. I wanted to stand up, but I felt my body stay in its place. Guess in whatever phase the spirit had me in, I could only shift my head, but not move from my spot. That only proved that this was in my head. You don't know.
I don't know.
How do you not know?
I just don't. I tried, but I can't get out.
'Cause it's a baby. I'm way over. This was proving to be useless. As childlike and innocent sounding this spirit was, this conversation was obviously going to go nowhere. I sighed and lowered my head, closing my eyes.
I was trapped when I died too, you know?
What? Huh? I looked up at the spirit, suddenly curious. They were trapped when they died. As the world began to move again around me, the orb vanished without a trace.
We have a different issue. My princess is being haunted by a spirit.
Uh-huh.
A spirit? But I can't hear its thoughts.
You can't catch everything, Damien.
That doesn't make sense. If a spirit's inside of her body, we would have sensed it.
That's the odd part. There's someone within her, but they are not powerful enough to be pinned down. It's as if...
It's a child.
It's a baby! Yes, how did you know?
Spirits of children are extremely versatile, miss. They're smaller and less noticeable than a regular spirit, but their emotions run just as high, if not higher, making them more powerful.
So a child made you fight Eric?
Yes. It also calls Eric the icky man.
Well, you were for a long time, dude. You can't deny that.
That was before I met my princess.
Okay, I'm gonna call it here because I'm a bit over, so I'm still 100% certain that that is a baby. And until this game tells me otherwise, it's a mother-freaking baby. So, I guess we'll come back and find out more training for fighting the Demon Lord and what's going on with the hybrid baby. Because I'm almost positive that's what it is. So, yeah. I'm logging off now. I'll see you guys later. Eric, put on a freaking shirt already. Remember to do something nice for a stranger today. You may just save a life. Bye.